Let's talk about protein today. Hi, I'm Dr. Celia Corbo, functional health practitioner and licensed chiropractor, and I'm going to be helping you activate your best quality of life. Before we continue, don't forget to like and subscribe to this video and to my channel. Protein is an essential macronutrient that makes up our physical body structure, like our brain, our skin, our vital organs, but it's also necessary for biochemical functions as well, such as hormone function and neurotransmitters, which are the chemicals of our nervous system. The benefits of consuming protein are numerous. Some of them are balanced blood sugar levels, increased energy, mental clarity, decreased body fat, improved body composition, and reduced cravings for all those not so good foods. When you're eating protein, you're not just eating meat or foods that contain protein. You are consuming protein for its amino acids. Amino acids are these small little molecules that, when linked all together, form a protein chain. And that's really what makes protein what it is. And these amino acids help to support the body in the physical structure, like I just mentioned, in the brain, the skin, the organs, and muscle building, but also in the body's biochemical functions as well, with hormones and the nervous system. So when it comes to amino acids, there are three categories of amino acids that we want to take a look at. Number one are the non-essential amino acids. These are the ones that our body produces on its own. So we do not need to consume these amino acids. And then we have essential amino acids. These are the molecules that our body cannot produce on its own, and we need to consume them from our diet. But we do have a third category of amino acids, and these are called conditional amino acids. And this section of amino acids is when your body cannot make enough of the non-essential, and therefore you need to consume Therefore, you will need to consume the non-essential amino acids in your diet as well. The conditional amino acids are more so seen in people who are diseased or critically ill. However, it is a possibility that we can get there if our body ends up in that state. So here's a list of the non-essential amino acids. There's about 11 of them. Don't worry, you won't have to remember them. And then here's a list of the 9 essential amino acids. It's pretty cool to think that all 20 of these amino acids are what our body uses in order to thrive and also to survive. But the next question is, well, how much of these amino acids or how much protein do I need? That's a really good question because there is some information that is given by the USRDA, but then there's also other information from research, which I'm going to present to you, which I would go off of. So currently, the USRDA for protein is set at 0.8 grams per kilogram of body mass. So if you weigh 150 pounds, then the RDA recommends that you consume 54 grams of protein per day. That is not enough protein, and the RDA is also not taking into consideration activity levels or any kind of physicality that the body is going through. If you are more physical, you will need more protein during your day. That 0.8 kilogram number is just to keep your body from entering into a diseased state. So I don't really like to work with those RDA values because they're just too low for me. I recommend, and what the research also tells us, is in order for us to achieve an optimal amount of protein per day, you would essentially want to consume 1 gram of protein per ideal body weight in pounds per day. I'll break that down into an example. So if you want to weigh 150 pounds, you would consume 150 grams of protein per day. If you want to if you want to weigh 200 pounds, you would consume 200 grams of protein per day. So it's your ideal body weight in grams. That's how much protein you want to eat daily. Now, you don't want to consume all of your protein at one go, and you don't want to have all of these unbalanced times during your day to consume your protein. So, balancing your protein throughout the day is going to be absolutely essential because your body can only absorb about 30 to 50 grams of protein at one time. So, usually, what I recommend to patients or to clients is meal prep. That's the best way. And you want to measure your protein on a scale raw. It's not really ideal to measure it cooked because when you cook it, it does decrease. So I usually recommend that you measure your protein, whether it be chicken, beef, fish, whatever your source is, put it on a plate, reset the scale to 0, and then put the beef or the chicken or the lamb or whatever protein on top, and it will measure that amount for you. And again, we want to be consuming 30 to 50 grams of high quality protein per meal. Now, when it comes to protein quality, that is going to trump and overrule quantity, because a lot of the foods that we have available to us are very mass produced. They're very much injected with steroids and antibiotics because they're raised in farms that don't necessarily practice good husbandry and ethical slaughter of animals, unfortunately. So if you are looking to increase your protein quantity, but also quality, I would highly recommend that you source out a local farm or butcher where they practice good husbandry, ethical slaughter of animals, and the quality of that meat is very pure and very high. So there's no use of antibiotics. There's minimal use of steroids or any kind of other injectables that would go into the animal in order for them to quickly grow and get them ready for preparation of slaughter. So that's what I would recommend because that quality is so much more important than quantity. A wonderful source and something that I eat very regularly is beef protein. Beef protein is so rich in amino acids, and every animal or land animal that you do eat will contain all of your essential amino acids with every serving. So you don't have to worry when you're consuming animal proteins that you're not getting all of your essential aminos. You are. It comes to the vegetarians and the vegans. You are not getting all of your essential amino acids because you are not eating animal protein, but I'll talk about that in just a second. So we want to consume high quality animal protein, such as beef, which is one of my favorites. I really enjoy chicken, breast, or thigh. Thigh is a little bit fatty, but I personally really like the taste of it more because it's not as dry. And ground turkey is another really wonderful source of animal protein that we want to get from our butcher or from the store, but again, raised ethically. So those are really good sources. But if you are a vegetarian, then you will need to receive your protein from grains and legumes. And it's suggested that vegans and vegetarians consume 2 to 3 grams of protein per day in ideal body weight. So if a vegan or vegetarian is to weigh 150 pounds, or that's their ideal body weight, they would need to have 2 to 3 times more protein. So I'm just going to do a little bit of math. You would have to consume 450 grams of protein from your vegetarian plant sources in order to achieve that. That's a lot because a lot of the legumes and grains, they're not just protein or pure protein like animal meat is. They also contain carbohydrates as well. and possibly some fats, very, very, very minimal, almost none. Whereas animal protein, we are getting more fat, and we're getting some saturated fat in there too. So every version of protein, unless it's a protein powder, you will be getting another macronutrient with it. But when it comes to the vegan forms or the plant-based forms where we're getting our protein from legumes and grains, the carbohydrates can be very abundant, and that can lead to excessive weight gain because carbohydrates eventually turn into fat. So just keep that in mind that you do need to consume more protein per ideal body weight in pounds. However, not impossible, just a lot of food per day to hit that goal. So one of the things that I usually recommend is protein powders. Now, again, you would be finding whether you are vegetarian, vegan, or you do eat animal products, you would then look for a protein powder that suits your dietary needs. I personally love Whey Isolate. It is so delicious tasting. It's so creamy, and the current brand that I'm consuming right now is quite expensive, but it is absolutely amazing. It is so pure. I've never had anything like it. And per scoop, it's 37 grams of protein. I'll see if I can link it in the show notes, but it is phenomenal. My husband actually got it for us. I didn't go pick it out. And like I said, it was expensive and my jaw did drop a little bit when he told me the price of it, but worth it. I've never consumed a protein so light. Like, I do not get bloated, and I usually do after a whey protein powder. But I feel incredible after that. I feel so full, and it's so, like I mentioned, it's just so light. Like, there's no heaviness associated. It's phenomenal. And it only comes in vanilla because the protein content is so rich. They cannot fill the protein powder with any preservatives or flavorings. So they only use natural vanilla. So I find vanilla goes with every single type of smoothie that I want to make. And it's just like, it's just great. So I'm going to link that for you if I can find the link for it, but highly, highly recommend. So another wonderful way to get your protein from my little tangent would be from the protein powders. And that's part of one of my strategies as well when we're trying to increase protein during the day. I don't necessarily want you to only consume protein powders because our teeth, our jaw, we're made to chew our food, but it doesn't hurt to have as a snack or after your exercise workout to have a protein powdered shake and put a smoothie with it, or just plain. If the flavor is good enough, you can have it on its own. That's what I would recommend. So we just avoiding all the extra fillers and other macronutrients that we don't necessarily want to consume at that time. So when it comes to eating protein, we need to break it down. I mentioned the amino acids already. I gave you the list, but if you are not able to break down your protein and absorb it into your body so it can provide your body with the structural support and the biochemical support, then you can eat all the protein in the world, but nothing's going to happen. So let's think digestion for a second. Your digestive system is extremely intelligent, and every part of your digestive system is responsible for breaking down specific macronutrients. When it comes to protein, those are broken down, or that is broken down in the stomach from our stomach acid. So if you have acid reflux, heartburn, that is a sign that you are not producing enough stomach acid. And I know that sounds really contraindicated to what you've probably been told, but this is the reality, is that when you eat something, your body is not able to break it down, specifically with the proteins, because that stomach acid is not able to be released, excreted, breaking it down. And so you end up kind of regurgitating because there's so much basic, it's too basic in the stomach, it's too neutral. And that's what causes that acid reflux. So there's a test that I actually provide my patients with and my clients with when it comes to testing out stomach acid levels in the body, and it's called the burp test, and I'm for sure going to be linking that down in the show notes. So when it comes to the burp test, I want you to go back to your youthful elementary school days, and I want you to remember, if you ever did this, but there was a volcano experiment or a volcano science project when you mixed baking soda with acid or vinegar. You probably had this huge eruption, which looked like a volcano. And that's what we're trying to recreate in the stomach. But instead of an eruption of, you know, all this foam and whatnot coming from the volcano experiment, I want that eruption to be a burp. So if you burp within the first minute of doing this test, you will have enough stomach acid. You should be okay. Usually people that are burping within the first minute, they don't have acid reflux. If you burp, but very weakly between minutes 1 to 3, then your stomach acid production is there, but it does need to increase. But if you drink your solution, which is found in the burp test handout, and you don't burp, and it's been 5 minutes of doing this test and nothing's happened, then you are extremely low in stomach acid. So what I usually recommend is increasing your citrus fruits. So having hot water with lemon in the morning, or eating your salads with a lemon or balsamic drizzle, or marinating your meat in acid. So in a vinegar or apple cider vinegar or lemon or anything to help break down the proteins and the meat before you consume it. And that will help with stomach acid production, or even the use of digestive enzymes is what I would recommend to help with the stomach acid production. But always speak to your family doctor or your healthcare provider about adding in supplements as well as citrus or any other changes in your diet, because depending if you are on medication or not, they will know best what is the proper solution and proper route for you, because they know your health history. So another reason why we need to have proper stomach acid is not just for protein, but also for B12. And B12 is a vitamin that is absolutely essential in 2 processes in the body. Number 1 is methylation, which is responsible for protein synthesis and DNA repair and replication, and methylation, which helps with your nervous system. If you want to learn more about B12, I have a whole B12 video that you can go watch and go on over there. But that's why it's also super important to have adequate stomach acid, but also to consume your animal protein if you are an animal eater, because it contains B12. You will not find B12 in anything else. And if you do, it is probably in very, very, very low quantities. So consuming meats is a wonderful way to get B12 into the body, or supplementation, which I go through all in the B12 video. So go take a look at that if you haven't seen that one yet. All right, I want to end off this video with some strategies that we can help with so you can have a better diet, higher protein consumption, but also high quality protein consumption. So make sure when you are eating your meal to have it spaced out to at least 30 to 50 grams of protein per meal. Depending on your ideal body weight, it would be maybe closer to 30 or closer to 50, but try to space it out. I also want you to try and eat your protein first. This is not only going to help you receive those amino acids to help with your metabolism, but it's also going to make you feel fuller sooner. So the likelihood of over consuming food at a meal and you feel especially full by the end of it is less likely to happen, and you are more likely to reach a better body weight, whether you are looking to gain or lose any kind of body weight. Next is, if you know you are going to an event that will be serving or offering any kind of unhealthy food, or you don't even know what kind of food will be offered, but there's a trajectory or a pattern of it not being the best, then consume a 20 gram protein shake before you go, or at least 20 grams. That way, when you arrive to the event, you're not famished, you're not starving, and you're not making poor quality decisions for your health, for your diet. So showing up with a stomach half full will then limit you, so you are not feeling this starving type of sensation to then pick at all of these unhealthy foods like cookies and chips that will only make you hungrier because that's what they're designed to do. That brings me to my next point. If you are a cookie or chip snacker, replace that with high quality protein snacks. They have those meat sticks you can get beef jerky with really good ingredients, or just have protein prepped in your fridge so that way you can go pick at it whenever you need a little bit of a snack, and it's not going to be something that's going to raise your blood sugar and then only drop it right back down so you feel so hungry and it's only been a few minutes since you've had your snack. And finally, the last thing I could recommend is you can go just to any kind of health food store that's around you and purchase just amino acids on their own. Put them in water and drink it to help with your metabolism and also lower your blood sugar levels. So those would be my recommendations when it comes to improving protein quantity, quality, and also just overall having a better diet when it comes to protein consumption. I hope you enjoyed this episode all about protein. You can check out my free handbook down below, as well as the burp test. They're 2 separate downloads. And if you have any questions about anything, always feel free to leave it in the comments. I try my best to get back to you guys ASAP. But I hope you enjoyed this video. Again, like and subscribe so I can keep making you guys wonderful content. And I can't wait to see you at the next episode. Bye-bye.